Arguably, one of the best things about travelling is experiencing different food. Today, we go to Vietnam to have a look at this fantastic beef broth.
This really simple, really healthy Vietnamese pho is made with beef, which we're going to poach in beef stock, infused with all sorts of flavours. It's got star anise, lemongrass, ginger, chilli, and at the end we're going to bulk it out with some udon noodles, okay, and then some fresh herbs.
Cool.
But to start off with, if you can do some of our fresh flavours, so chilli and ginger, we probably want half the chilli.
That's a massive chilli.
It is a big chilli, but that's why we're only going to use half for now.
Yep.
Seeds and all, and sort of a thumb-sized bit of ginger,
cool.
if you can peel and chop that. And I'm going to make onion rings with our white onion, because they just look better in that final soup. So if you just cut it skin on and all.
Skin on?
Well, yeah, because then actually the skin comes off, because all you want is that those bits anyway. So it's just as easy to do it that way. So quite literally the only fat that's going into this is a little bit of sesame oil, okay, which we're going to use to fry off our onion.
This is quite a healthy dish as well.
It is. It's all done in a broth, so it's more like a soup with loads of fresh flavours in it, but our chili's going in there as well.
And how do we want the ginger cooked?
Nice and fine. In fact, even better, let's grate it.
Oh, okay.
So it becomes nice and you don't get any big lumps, because you're not going to cook this for long. So the other flavours we're going to put into this, which need to start to infuse in that oil, a couple of star anise, okay, so they're going to go in there, a stick of cinnamon, great fragrant flavours going in here, and lemongrass. So this is dried lemongrass. You can use fresh if you can get hold of it, but dry is just as good for this broth. So quick stir to mix all that up. And then beef stock. Now this is just a beef stock cube, okay, with just over a pint of liquid. So that's going to go in there as well. And all those flavours from the ginger, the chilli, the onion, all the other spices are going to infuse that, what is otherwise a very plain beef stock. So we'll leave that just to come up to a simmer, and we can look at our beef itself.
And this is, what kind of beef is this? Like a rump steak or something?
It is rump. And rump's particularly good because it's got a slight marbling through it. So we'll get rid of the larger pieces of fat, but the rest of it, if you can just slice into really thin strips, okay? And it's these thin strips which we're going to literally poach in that stock, okay? And while you cut up the rest of that, I'll start to pop it into our stock.
Yeah. So does that mean it cooks a lot quicker and it's more tender?
It does, and also you don't want it to bubble away furiously. You want it to very gently sort of poach and simmer, okay? Otherwise the meat can become quite tough. Those final bits of beef in there as well. And then all you do is let it simmer very, very gently for 2 minutes, and then we can do the next step. Now that our beef is cooked, and you can see that there, these thin strips are just nicely poached, we can add our noodles to cook. Okay, now traditionally these would be rice noodles, but I'm a big fan of the wheat udon noodles, slightly thicker. Like worms? Gloopy, well, they look a bit like worms now. But all they need is about 2 or 3 minutes in that stock just to cook out. In the meantime, the fresh herbs. Now, pho is all about the fresh things you put in the dish at the end. Yep. So, if you can cut up these, Jamie, we've got some basil, we've got some mint, and some parsley. Coriander. Close. You know if you smell it.
That's coriander.
So if you get confused with herbs and spices, you can tell them by look, or by smell, or by taste. So use all three to identify them. But if you can just chop all those up really, really fine. Yep. And I'm going to do some thin slices of chilli to garnish as well. And what we also want is some crunch. So we get a little bit of crunch from some spring onions, and another fantastic salad vegetable, bean sprouts. Now these are best kept in the fridge until just before you need them to keep them nice and crisp. So just to warm the bean sprouts through, we're going to put them in, but it should really be a very last minute thing because you do want that crunch. And already we can begin to plate this up. And to do this, we'll put the fresh things in the bottom of the dish. So if I can jump in there, we've got some of our coriander, basil, and mint. And then dig out loads of bits and pieces from the pho. Plenty of the beef and the onion. And plenty of that broth on top. Nice. Should be literally swimming in it.
Look at that.
And don't forget all those herbs at the bottom, which are just beginning to infuse that stock as well. We'll put a little bit more on top. And there we go. So it's our Vietnamese beef pho with our sorted twist of udon noodles sorted.
Right, let's give this a go. Oh wow.
Really mix it up from the bottom as well.
That is lovely.
All those herbs from the bottom.
There's so much flavour going on there. That beef is so tender. That is lovely. It was really good.